Hey, what's up, guys? All right, so our first local sports story, and before I get into it, of course, going to go over a couple of things. First of all, I'm Taylor from K-Way, if you don't know me. I work at a radio station called K-Way. It's in Waverly. If you're in the area, certainly listen to it. It's a fantastic radio station. You'll hear me from time to time. Also, some fantastic other people on air as well. Matt Ray, Carolyn Kennedy, bunch of different people. Fantastic stuff going on over there. Also, if you're not in the area of Waverly, feel free to go to kwayradio.com and you can listen online there. And I'm telling you, fantastic content on there. And I'm not just saying that because I work there, although certainly part of it. But it's not the only reason. A bunch of good stuff going on over there, so make sure you head over there. But as I mentioned, this is our first local sports video, and so local meaning sports from that area. So just so you're aware, that's mostly what we'll talk about. We'll also talk about some other high school things or some other Iowa sports stories throughout however long this thing lasts, maybe forever. That'd be pretty sweet. But today we're going to talk about what teams from the area, boys and girls basketball, I think have a legitimate shot to get to the state tournament. And before I alienate a bunch of my target audience here, every team that I've seen so far, and I do play-by-play, if you're asking, what are you talking about? I do play-by-play, and every team that I've seen in the area has at least a couple players that can certainly play, and the team is pretty solid, and can win games. But these are the teams that I feel like legitimately have a chance to go to the state tournament. And I'll be honest, there aren't a whole lot. There aren't a ton of teams. I will say both Waverly Shell Rock teams, the boys and girls basketball team, I think can certainly get there. Now, I don't cover Waverly Shell Rock very often. That's Matt Ray's beat, and he does a fantastic job. But Waverly Shell Rock boys, I guess, let's start there. They have Austin Fife. They have shooters all over the yard. They have three really, really good big players, including Fife. Most teams would kill for one post player who's fantastically skilled and is big. And Waverly Shell Rock has three. I think coming in, they're ranked number 1 in Class 3A. I think certainly they are probably the favorites, if not the favorites, one of the favorites for sure, to win state. Not just get to state, but to win state. And I don't think this season would necessarily count as a successful season if they were not to make it to state. So certainly they can make it. And I think the girls, who I've not seen this year at all play. So maybe I'm not the best person to be talking about Waverly Shell Rock girls, but I think they have a shot to make it to state as well. They, of course, earlier in the season had a tough run of games where they lost 3 games, but all to 3 really, really good teams. Nothing certainly to hang their heads about there, but I think they've got a shot to make it to the state tournament. It also helps, by the way, that they're in one of the upper classes where they don't have to play 15 games before they get to state, and that's something that we'll talk about actually later in the year. A fix that I would have for postseason or for high school sports for both girls and boys, in fact. But with that said, let me get to some of the area teams that I think have a shot. I'm not saying they will, but I think have a shot to get to the state tournament. And I'm going to be honest with you straight off the bat. There are 2. There's a girls team, there's a boys team. And I think I need to be really honest here and say our area of the state is good at sports. In fact, I would argue that volleyball specifically, there's nowhere better in the state of Iowa than the Waverly, the K-Way listening area. I think that's easily the best volleyball in the state, and I think it'd be tough to argue even. Basketball, on the other hand, for whatever reason, whether it's girls, boys, whatever, it's just not quite on that level. Now, that doesn't mean that good basketball isn't being played. It certainly does not mean that entertaining basketball is not being played, because it most certainly is. But the quality isn't quite the level. It's not tops. It's just not. And you know, if you feel differently about that, certainly feel free to leave me a comment here on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, wherever you may find me. Taylor from KOAs, where you can find me on Twitter. Taylor Knits, last name spelled N as in Nancy, ITZ on Facebook, YouTube, wherever. But I just don't think it's quite on. I don't think the quality is quite on par with some of the other parts of the state, at least for basketball. But with that said, let me get to the teams before I run out of time. For the girls, let's start with the girls. The Janesville girls. Janesville girls obviously won state in volleyball. They're one of those incredibly talented, very, very good volleyball teams. Their basketball team is really, really good as well. And I think they're rated 9th. I think they're rated 9th right now in Class 1A. And they have a legitimate shot. Now, it's going to be tough. They're in a bit of a tough district region to get through. But they are a fantastic team, no doubt. And, I mean, when you're talking about Janesville basketball, you have to talk about Tori Hazard. She's an absolute beast. I mean, she's a monster. She's got good size. She's probably 5'11", 6 feet tall, somewhere around in that region. And she just does everything. She can score inside. She can score outside. She can handle the ball. She plays great defense. She gets steals. She gets blocks. And here's the thing. Janesville blow people out. So she's getting generally about 3/4 of a game to do what she does, and she's averaging like 20 points a game. She's pulling down rebounds all over the place. She's dishing the ball out to her teammates. She's blocking shots. She's frustrating the other team, doing literally everything on the court. And I mean, she's just a monster. And the thing that makes Janesville a step above is that they're not just Tori Hazard. They've also got Kennedy Meister, who's a fantastic post player, can hit a nice little 15-footer all day. I mean, she stand there and just hit that shot the entire time. She can also play good, solid defense on any post that you have. And then you also have sophomore guard Brianna Baker-Bruce, who is... My theory is that when Tori Hazard moves on at the end of the season, as she will, as she's a senior, Brianna Baker-Bruce, who I mentioned is a sophomore, is going to step into that role and basically become a little bit shorter Tori Hazard, but a player that can do just about everything. Brianna Baker-Bruce, first of all, has a very fun name to say for play-by-play guys, but she also can hit the outside jumper. She's very good at getting to the rim, very athletic, and she plays like she's been around forever, and she's just a sophomore. So that Janesville girls team is... They're loaded. I think they've got a very, very good chance to get to state. Now, the other team that I'm pegging to possibly get to state and possibly get me to state, as it were, as well, is the Don Bosco Dons, the boys team. They're very, very good. They get scoring from just about every class as well. They've got a freshman in the starting lineup. Huff is his last name. They've got a sophomore in Jack Kelly, who's a stud too. It feels like he's not a sophomore. Feels like he's been around forever, although he looks like he's in 6th grade. But he's a very, very smooth guard. He's got a very nice little floater. He can hit the 3 as well. And then they've got posts inside. McFadden. I think McFadden actually is probably one of the most underrated players in the region, in the state, maybe even. He just does so much. He's so technically sound. He's very, very good. And then they've got Nye, who can knock down 3s. And they've got a big kid in the middle, and I'm sorry, I should be more prepared. His name is escaping me at the moment, but he changes things for that team, especially on defense. And if you don't have a post, he's going to kill you on offense as well. So Dom, and they've got guys that come off the bench. They've got guys that come off the bench as well. So I think Don Bosco is certainly looking like they've got a chance to make it to the state tournament. And that's a crazy thing for me to say because in my high school days, Don Bosco was terrible at basketball. They're a wrestling school. That's what they're known for. They are like the wrestling school in the state of Iowa, and yet they've got this basketball team who is fantastic this year, and I, again, think they have a real shot to get to the state tournament. So let me ask you, those of you in the region, or if you're not in the region, do a little research, see if you think differently. Is there another team? Am I missing somebody? Am I forgetting somebody that's going to make it to the state tournament that I haven't thought about? Or do you think the two teams, the regional teams that I picked, have no shot? Maybe that's the case. Let me know if that's what you think as well. I think, that's going to do it here for this video pretty much, but I think if you're a regional team and as soon as your team loses, hit your saddle to one of these other two teams. Let them be, the team, and then we get this whole region cheering, voting for this team to get to state and win another championship for the region. But that is just about it for me here, guys. Again, I am Taylor from KOA. Thanks for watching, and tune into KOA and catch some more of me. All right, thanks, guys. Bye.